Welcome back, Fear Fiends, to the Chillergeist Horror League. Tonight, we delve into YouTube and find what hidden gems await us there. Tonight, we are looking at comedy horror. Happy Hour Slasher.
This indie horror comedy centers on Sonny Garrison, the owner of a traditional corner bar in a town called Havertown, which is being overrun by trendy hipster establishments and craft breweries. Tensions are high as Sonny feels his way of life is under threat. Suddenly, patrons of the rival hipster bars start being mysteriously picked off during happy hours. The film follows the quirky characters of the neighborhood as they try to figure out who, or what, is behind the gruesome murders. The humor is derived from the clash between the old-school, working-class bar culture and the pretentious, modern-day hipsters, all set against the backdrop of a classic slasher plot. The film, directed by Ray Martin, blends a low-budget, affectionate homage to 80s horror with a distinctly local, Delco, Delaware County, PA, comedic style, making it a bloody and absurd commentary on gentrification.
The Mutation.
The Mutation is a sci-fi creature feature that takes a common horror trope, a scientific experiment gone wrong, and infuses it with elements of a citywide disaster film. The movie's plot kicks off in a city thrown into chaos after an ordinary rat is subjected to a shocking experiment. The creature begins to grow in size and menace with each passing day, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. A determined team of detectives must race against time to stop the grotesque beast before it becomes an unstoppable force. The film is marketed as a suspenseful narrative for fans of iconic creature features like Godzilla and Cloverfield *, exploring the theme of humanity's struggle against the unpredictability of nature. It's a suspense-packed ride through a city on the brink, where danger lurks around every corner.
Wickedly Evil.
This Irish horror comedy begins with a post-heist setup reminiscent of Reservoir Dogs star. A group of criminals, led by Frankie, head to an isolated countryside location to lay low and await instructions. Their plan is complicated by an injured gang member and a kidnapped victim, Claire, who they've stashed in the trunk of their getaway car. The film's humor comes from the bickering and distrust among the thieves, particularly the erratic behavior of the coked-up dancer. As they hide out, strange occurrences begin to hint that something sinister is afoot in the rural setting. The horror element is a slow burn, building tension through mentions of locals who have gone missing. The movie's turn into full-blown horror comes late in the film, leading to a bloody and rushed finale. It is a tonal blend of a crime caper and a rural horror flick that explores what could have been.
Follow the Dead.
Set in the Irish countryside of County Offaly, this film follows a group of self-aware millennials during a zombie apocalypse. The story begins with Robbie, who, while on a bad date, hears about suspicious sightings in Dublin that are presumed to be the start of a zombie outbreak. Brushing it off in typical Irish fashion, Robbie's laid-back attitude is soon challenged as he, his sister Liv, and their cousins Kai and Jay must try to survive. The film's charm and humor come from the solid chemistry and witty banter of the cast, who perfectly embody millennial attitudes. It subverts zombie movie tropes by focusing on the characters' reactions to the chaos. For instance, Liv sees the outbreak as a way to boost her YouTube presence, while Jay uses his knowledge of horror films to their eyes about the unfolding events.
As We Know It.
This romantic zombie horror comedy is set in Los Angeles in the late 1990s. The story follows James Bishop, a struggling writer grappling with a recent breakup. He finds himself holed up in his Hollywood Hills home when his eccentric best friend, Bruce, arrives with news of an unusual and hilarious zombie outbreak, apparently caused by tainted soy milk. Soon after, James's ex-girlfriend Emily also joins them. The trio must barricade themselves in the house while navigating their complicated personal lives and attempting to reconcile their past. The film, which was conceived during the COVID-19 pandemic, uses the setting of a contained zombie apocalypse to explore themes of quarantine, relationships, and emotional struggles, blending a chaotic comedic backdrop with genuine character drama.
Night of the Wererooster.
A film that delivers exactly what its title promises, Night of the Wererooster is a monster horror movie with a darkly comedic premise. The plot centers on a mysterious figure named Charlotte Reeves, who calls together the family members of several missing persons to a remote lake. They soon discover that a giant, murderous, feathered creature, a wererooster, is responsible for the disappearances. The film is a B-movie monster mashup, featuring an over-the-top, absurd monster design and a low-budget horror aesthetic. Its humor comes from the sheer silliness of the central monster and the stereotypical reactions of the characters as they try to survive the onslaught of a rampaging rooster.
Pandemonium.
Pandemonium is a horror film that blends the slasher subgenre with a dark comedic twist. The story follows a group of hard-partying businessmen who hire a crew of strippers for an event. Their night takes a gruesome turn when they encounter the infamous stripper Ripper, a serial killer who stalks his victims while wearing a panda mask. The humor of the film is rooted in its absurd premise, playing on the tension between a chaotic, over-the-top killer and his unsuspecting victims. It's a low-budget, bloody romp that leans into its bizarre concept, delivering both moments of shocking violence and darkly comedic levity.
The Vampire Next Door.
This movie is a coming-of-age story that features a supernatural twist. It centers on Cameron, an introverted 20-year-old, whose life is turned upside down when he discovers his new neighbor, Victoria, is a vampire seeking revenge for her former lover's murder. The film's plot thickens as Cameron's meddling co-worker, Lenny, and his caring mother get involved. The story also introduces another layer of complexity when Cameron's longtime crush, Diane, is revealed to be a 2-century-old vampire herself. The humor arises from the awkward and often bizarre situations that the supernatural elements create in Cameron's otherwise mundane life, blending typical teenage dilemmas with a suspenseful and adventurous plot.
The Halloween Puppy.
This family-friendly comedy movie contains elements of fantasy and a light-hearted, whimsical form of horror. The story follows a young boy who, on Halloween, accidentally uses magic to turn his mom's new boyfriend into a dog. With the holiday's magic quickly fading, the boy must find a way to reverse the spell before his mom's boyfriend is stuck as a canine forever. The film focuses on the hilarious chaos and misadventures that ensue. It's a simple, feel-good story that is part magical adventure and part comedy, with its horror element being the comedic absurdity of the situation rather than genuine terror.
Something in the basement.
Information on this film is very scarce, with some sources referring to it as a lost film. Based on the limited available information, the plot revolves around a young man waiting for his brother to return home from a bloody war. While he waits, he encounters a mysterious and malevolent entity lurking in the basement of his house. The creature claims that his brother has died, adding a psychological and dramatic layer to the horror. The film's appeal lies in its low-budget, creepy aesthetic and its reliance on classic suspense tropes, centering on a confined setting and the unsettling feeling of being alone with an unknown, evil presence.